got this cards.
Oh, is this a game?
Yeah, it's kind of a game.
Let's do
It's a
it.
game I'm playing with all of my guests. So they are 100 inspiring quotes, and I basically shuffle the cards, and then you tell me when to stop, and I take the top card, and then we talk about what's on the card.
Let's do this.
Okay, brilliant. So I'm now shuffling the cards, so you can tell me when to stop whenever you're ready. Okay, here we go. So the card that's come up for you today is everything I need is within me.
Yeah, I agree. And that's so like, that is so me. I always talk about that. I always say that everything that you want to do, everything that you need is always within yourself. You just have to find a way to cultivate it and get that out of you. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I absolutely agree with you. I think every challenge is an opportunity for personal growth and professional development if the challenge is within, your profession. But even so, there's cross fertilization, isn't there? But yeah, I think we've got everything we need within us. Like you say, we just need to
Yes.
cultivate it.
Yes.
What a lovely card to start with. Do you want to tell our listeners who you are and what you do, first of all?
Yes. So my name is Urmi. I am based in Montreal, Canada. And as I always like to say, I am a corporate professional by day and a creative soul by night. So I do work in finance. It's my 9 to 5, and I'm a proud woman in finance. And besides working, the things that I do after my 9 to 5 are quite massive. I am a self-published author, speaker, YouTuber, a female mentor. I'm a podcaster myself, and I am also the co-chair of an organization called Women in Leadership, and I am part of the Montreal chapter. So I do have a quite busy and I would say productive schedule as well.
Absolutely. And, when I was doing my research for today's episode and our conversation, I was looking through your socials, and I loved the In the Life of Urmi, the video that you did, because wow, you do a lot during the day. Talk to me about what your day looks like 9 to 5, and then what it looks like 5 to 9.
Yeah, I would say my 9 to 5, it's pretty static, meaning that, I wake up at my usual time, 7, get out of by 7:30 and start my day at 8:30. And usually between, I would say 8:30 to 5 o'clock, that's what I am in the office doing my work. But I also take time, let's say during my lunchtime, to go for a walk, to really like deconnect from my day-to-day routine and to do something where I'm like taking a fresh breath of air. And then as soon as my work is done, I usually go either to the gym, which is very, very important. It's like my religious moment. Like no one can bother me in that moment. And I block the time when I have to go to the gym. Or sometimes let's say I am like recording an episode, or maybe I'm having a meeting for the organization that I volunteer for, or maybe I'm writing an article. But everything that I do is pretty diversified each day. Like I don't do everything in one day. It's quite spread out. So let's say one day I am having a meeting. The next day I am, let's say, having a mentoring session. The day after, let's say I'm going to the gym. The day after I'm like writing an article. So it's like I do a little bit of everything, and I make sure that it's not feeling like it's overwhelming. Instead of doing everything in one shot, it's like quite spread out. And then the weekends are really the moment where I am like really just taking care of myself. So again, I go to the gym. I'm not taking any calls usually. I'm really like separating those two things. My corporate and creative side are only for the weekdays, and the weekends are just for me. And then on the weekends, let's say I'm taking time to like bake or cook something, that's how I like to have that kind of balance.
Hmm. And what I'm hearing there is that everything that you do is so purpose driven. Like it's really purposeful and very intentional. And for me, as a creative and somebody who works in education, I've always found it really difficult to keep those parts of my life separate and to
Mhm.
find that balance. But it sounds to me like you've found a rhythm with that.
Yeah, and I think it's about sustainability.
Hmm.
Because sustainability and putting a boundary, because I think when you are, let's say, having a day-to-day job, there's only so much that you can do within those hours, especially if you have to show up physically. You cannot do other stuff while you're like being in the office and so forth. But as soon as you're like done with it, you have to be intentional about what you want to do with the rest of your days. I think for many of us, usually we come home, we just sit on the couch, we watch TV, but you can do something in that moment, and it doesn't have to be for the whole afternoon. It could be just for an hour where you're like I don't know, let's say like reading a book or maybe, learning something, taking a course, but there is an intention behind it. And I also putting like a time boundary, like you have to put on your schedule that this day I want to do this. And then when you're writing it down or when you put it down somewhere, you tend to do it. You tend to stick to it. That's why I always say doing a to-do list, putting something in your calendar, you are more propense to do it rather than not like putting it anywhere. And I think also with the time, it's important to keep that separation between what you do, your 9 to 5 and your 5 to 9.
Mm.
Is, sometimes we get so caught up with our 9 to 5 that we like stay extra hours. We do, additional hours at work. But, at the end of the day, you can only go so far with the work. Like the work will always be there no matter how much you work. So it's always important to like just do what needs to be done. And then, intentionally like taking a break and be like, okay, I will do the rest tomorrow. And now it's time for me to dedicate for myself. It's also about putting yourself as a priority and not always using that as an excuse. I have so much work, like we all do.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you always intend to go into finance? Was it something that was always in the plan, or did you come to that later on in your training and your education?
So no, it wasn't always in my plan, meaning that I never came across the word finance when I was in high school. I thought that I was going to become a therapist. I thought that I was going to be a tourist guide. Like I thought about all of these things. But then when I started to like go to university, I was in international business. Like I was always in business, but I realized that I did not like that major. And finance was my minor. And I knew that like in the financial markets or in like in the financial sector, there were going to be a lot more opportunities, job opportunities. So I told myself, I think maybe it's time to see if I would like finance as a class. And then I basically took a class. I realized how much in love I was with it. And right away, I was like, this is love at first sight. I'm just going to go ahead and make it my major. And it's a decision that I will never regret. Like, I just love being in finance. I love taking my finance classes. I remember like listening to my professors, going to my exam and being very happy about it. Even when I had to graduate, it was quite of it was a disaster for me, like emotionally, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready to
Really?
graduate.
Oh,
Yeah, it was very hard. Like I remember even after I graduated, I kept going back to my university, like just to, walk around the buildings and bring back those memories of me being a student.
mm.
And then I told myself, what I liked about finance was the studying part. And I told myself I can still do that, even if I'm not officially a student. So I took like additional courses, I did certifications, which really helped me to be where I am right now.
And that love of learning, I think, is definitely something that resonates with me. Your love of books, travel, learning, and coffee.
Yes.
Those four things. Those four things. Not so
Here.
much going to the gym. I am working on that. But good coffee, and meeting up with friends. Like you have friends that you've been in relationships with since high school, haven't you? And they've
Yes.
supported you all the way through. And you meet up with them a lot, don't you? Because travel's such a big part of your life as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so my closest friends are my friends from Italy. And these are my high school friends, and I do travel a lot. That is true. And coffee is always part of me. Like meaning that no matter where I go, I always like to try the local coffee and make a comparison.
Yeah.
And like I'm very much. I don't know if you have ever been to LA, but they make the best coffees. It's really, really good. Like really good.
Okay.
And it's very good. Like, and they come up with this like different like drinks, like with your coffee, like Spanish latte, and then they do all these like fancy things, but it's very good. Like, I don't even like sweet drinks, but whatever I tried over there, it was really good.
Okay.
So yeah, travel is a big part of me. I think it's another way of learning. It's another way of seeing things. It makes you also more human, I would say, because you get to see a little bit of the lifestyle of other people, things that you maybe would not think of, and then you see how they live. So there is also learning part that comes with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, meeting new people, having those experiences, trying things that you wouldn't necessarily try, and realizing that actually you quite like that coffee. Uh, it is part and parcel of this sort of quest that we're all on, isn't it? And at the start, when you were explaining your role and how you sort of divide your time, you do a lot of work with women and girls and informing them, inspiring them in finance, in sort of having that empowering them. And I was wondering how creativity as a tool shows up in those moments when you're working with your organization as you volunteer and you're mentoring as well.
Yeah, I would say it's simply one word, which is storytelling. Like, I think that when it comes to creativity, it's more about I would say it's more about being more like it's about being emotional and it's about vulnerability. And I think a big part of creativity is storytelling. So when I'm connecting with other women from like different organizations or women who want to be mentored, one thing that I always do is like just tell my story. And that way, I'm creating a connections. And I also give, a platform to the other women to also share their stories. I do that with my podcast. I also do that through the mentoring. I always tell them, stories are important. And I think creativity shows in that sense, you're connected emotionally with other people and you bring together other people. And I think it's important, it's important, especially when you are planning to become a leader. Like, you always want to make sure that you're leading with empathy, you're leading with intention. It's not about, rigid structure or hierarchy. And creativity shows in many different things. And I think it's just going to be part of our life because creativity is more about being expressive. That's
Yes.
how I see it. Yeah.
And why it is so important to have more women in leadership roles, because I feel like we have this in abundance. We have this ability, not to say that men can't be empathetic, compassionate, expressive, creative. Of course they can. We all can be, can't we? But, we do need to ensure that, the right people get into positions of power where they can lead with compassion, heart-led innovation,
Yeah.
heart-led leadership.
We lead with empathy and with compassion. I think men they they lead in a different way and sometimes it comes across very hierarchical, very rigid, very strict. But I think us there is more of an empathy and compassion part that I think men do not carry well. So we just lead differently. And like you said, I think we need more women in leadership position because of the diversity and because we want to feel heard and seen. And sometimes having, just men in leadership position, a lot of our concerns are now being addressed because decisions are made from their point of view and not from our point of view. So we don't feel like we're being included in the whole decision process. So we need more women so that our address can be.
Yeah. And because you co-chair, don't you, the Women in Leadership?
Yeah,
So
some
is that
yeah,
right?
sorry. Yes, I'm the co-chair with another team member. So we run this organization, but we are a team of 4 people. So we have like a mentorship lead, we have a social media person, and then there are two co-chairs. So our chapter was dormant for a while. And now we are back on it and we're planning to like launch an event for Women's Day, for International Women's Day. And we want to bring together like a panel session. We want to bring together the women of Montreal so they can connect with each other because there is a lot of demand in this city, but also in the country in general, where like women wants to get together with other women.
Mm.
And the goal is really to have this conversation, sparks this conversation about, the struggles that we go through or how can we, empower ourselves. But the whole goal of women in leadership is really to basically help the women in the community to become the leaders they are meant to be. This is what we do. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the podcast?
Yes, so it's called Stories Beyond Borders.
Yes.
And basically, it's a platform of storytelling about migration stories. So it's about people moving from one country to another, why they move, the struggles that come with it, how did they, go through adversity. It's about language learning. It's about things that they have learned. It's about also cultural identity because many of the people who move around sometimes they have this lack of what home is because they kept moving or maybe they are not able to find out what their identity is, like are they let's say British or are they, let's say, Italian, even though they were born and raised in another country. So there are things that come up. And the more I interview people, the more I realize it's a common theme that we all go through, finding, what is home? Is it a feeling? Is it, the place where I was born? So I created this platform so that people can share their stories. And it's been really eye-opening for me because there are things that I did not think would happen, but they did happen. Like there was this person that I interviewed who said that she had to move from her home country during the war, and we're talking about many years ago. And she only had like one teddy bear in her hand, and then she like took that when she was like trying to escape. And it was quite eye-opening because I was like, I thought that these things only happen in the movies, but they do happen in real life. And she was telling me how, like now every time that she thinks about, escaping somewhere or something, like it's that that moment in her life where she's like holding her teddy bear comes to her mind. So it's
Really?
yeah, it's another way to like, connect with other people, be more like empathetic towards other people because it's not always, beautiful the way we think. And there was another guest who shared her story about being biracial. So she's like half white and half black, but she doesn't look black. And sometimes she feels like the fact that she didn't look black gave her a little bit of a privilege when she went to school. But she also felt like that she was not telling 100% of her story because she was half half, and she wished that she looked a little bit different. So
Yeah.
it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Wow, what an incredible platform to provide for people. And like you say, it really is an honor, isn't it, to sit with somebody and listen to their
Yeah.
story and
Very.
allow other people to hear that and develop with a greater sense of who we are in relation to the other people, to the other people that we're meeting. It's fascinating. And I absolutely agree with you in terms of the concept of creativity and this idea of storytelling. And I mean, as you start to look at how you're going to develop and your quest with your creative work and with your professional work, where is this leading? Like, do you have any plans for this year? Like, what are you looking forward to?
So where is this leading? That's a very good question. Here's the thing. When I started all of these things, I didn't know where this was going to lead. But I think the more I did, the more I think I got of an understanding of what I like to have and what I'm good at. Because I feel like creativity can come in different forms, whether it's writing, speaking, having a podcast. And for me, when I started this journey, it's really started with like a blog, which I eventually closed because I did not feel like there was a fit. And so it was a learning process. It was like a trial and error process to eventually find, what my direction is, which is, speaking, having a channel, having a podcast. And I know for sure that I do want to continue with this theme of like storytelling. And I know that I do want to keep growing my creativity side because it makes me more human, I would say. So it makes me more human and it gives me the ability to express myself in a way that maybe I cannot do it, let's say, in a corporate structure, although I still try to bring that side there as well. And my goal is, to continue exploring that to maybe, I would like to still publish a second book, for instance. I do want to have my podcast still give a chance for people to share their story. And maybe one day I'm hoping I can deliver a TEDx. That's my goal as well.
Okay, so we're putting this out there into the universe. TEDx, this is it. We're
Yeah.
coming for you.
Yes.
Can you tell our listeners what the book is and what it's called and how that came to fruition?
Yeah, so it's called Discovering Your Identity, Rebirth from Your Inspirational Struggle. So it's sort of like a memoir or an autobiography about myself, where I talk about the Bengali culture and the Italian culture, and I make a comparison between the two. So for those who do not know me, I was born and raised in Italy, and both of my parents are from Bangladesh. And so I went through a struggle where I felt like I did not fit in. Like I felt like I did not feel Bengali enough or Italian enough. So I'm making a comparison between the two, but I talk about it from a perspective of a South Asian woman. So I'm talking about, my experience growing up, from going to school to Italy, to having friends who were just Italian, to talking about religion. And then eventually I come to the conclusion that, at the end, it's just about embracing your cultural identity and taking the good from each side. So for a while, I was neglecting one side of it, like one culture, but now I realize that it's my strength, it's my power. So I should like be able to embrace them. But it took me a while to figure it out. Um, and I still published the book in 2022, which I didn't think was going to happen that soon, but it was again my way of like telling my story and expressing myself. And I felt like it was important that I did that. And I chose to do it through a book.
We will put all of the links to your podcast, to the book,
Thank
to
you.
your wonderful work with the Women in Leadership Foundation as well. Put them in the show notes. What have you got planned for this afternoon or this morning, should I say, with you being over in Montreal?
So I do have a lot of things planned. I do have a lot of things planned. I have a to-do list every day that I have to like make sure that I stick to it. So after my work, I'm planning to like work on my Spanish. I'm taking Spanish courses. So I have to do my homework and then I have to write few articles for different organizations. So I'm gonna be busy in doing that. We'll call it a day, like around 8 or 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Wow. Well, do you know, Amy, it's been absolutely lovely talking to you. It's a pleasure to meet you. And
Thank you.
I'm so glad we've connected. I am going to be following you and cheerleading you as you do with everybody else. Do check out the show notes for all the information, and head over to Amy's socials as well. You can see what she's doing. And I will, yeah, let's stay in contact. Let's stay in
Thank
contact
you.
here in the wilderness.
Thank you.